Good morning and welcome to Veterans Heartbeat on the Pulse of the Veteran, where we discuss issues of health, happiness, opportunity, and well-being of interest to the veteran community, their families, and the community who honors them.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Veterans Heartbeat, brought to you by River, the Rural Institute for Veterans Education and Research. My name is Jason Zencraft. My co-host Ed Lisofsky is here with me, and he is the Executive Director of River. We welcome you to a weekly wide-ranging discussion of issues, events, opportunities, and needs in our veteran community. Morning, Ed. How you doing?
Morning, Jason.
We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Farside Signs. They create amazing-looking vehicle graphics that will drive traffic to your business. They are located at 1526 South Avenue West in Missoula. Follow them on the web, Instagram, and Facebook, or just stop on by.
Well, this morning we've got a really good surprise for our audience. We are going to be talking to some of the team members from River about what it was like being away from home on Christmas. So in the studio we have Nick Knowles. The audience knows him. Say good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
And we have Josh Colson.
Good morning.
And on the phone we have Aaron Croto, who is our Sydney, Montana recreational therapist. So we're going to talk about Christmases away from home during the holidays, and we're going to get stories from Nick, and we're going to get them from Josh and you, Aaron. And I think if the listeners are really lucky, we might get Santa Claus to call in.
Yes.
So Nick, do you have any good stories for us this morning?
I wouldn't say good stories, but I do have some experience of being away from my family during Christmas time. As I've talked about before, I was a canine handler in the Air Force, and I did a lot of Secret Service protection details for President Obama, President Bush. Did a couple FLOTUS details to Panama, been to Ukraine, been to Croatia a couple times, but I used to do President Obama's detail in Hawaii. That's where he went for Christmas. Yeah, it sucks being gone away. You know, I mean, technically my family lived on the island, but I was working like 18-hour days at the time. So I remember specifically on 2 different occasions having to convince Santa to come to my house a couple days early because I wouldn't be there actually on Christmas. So yeah, you adjust fire and do what you have to do. But yeah, I got some pretty wild stories out of that deal. So,
well, Josh, do you have any good stories for us?
Well, I mean, I think
in English.
Yeah. Being away from your family, I mean, you're just with a different family. I mean, that's to be honest. They're just a different family, a lot smellier, more angry family. The soldiers. And one of the more, I think it was around Christmas was the episode, but we had a particular training event that we went to, and down in Fort Polk, and I'm going to call the gentleman Frazier. That's not his real name, just to protect his identity because it involves him. But we were doing this basically this training event, and it mixed NCOs with officers, and kind of an intriguing training event. But I remember we had this party that was like the second night before we were supposed to go home, and this gentleman, Frazier, Staff Sergeant Frazier, got a little too tipsy, I guess, and proceeded to basically make a few attempts on a major, a female major, trying to persuade her of his prowess, and basically he was informed that he needed to his friends that he needed to be basically taken away, that he's had too much fun, so they take him away, and I'm in an airborne unit at this time, and there's which will become very apparent in what Frazier does. So they take him to his room, and he's on the fight because he's being detained by his buddies, and they lock him in his room, and basically they just post guard. You know, they just sit there and they're just waiting for him basically to kind of calm down. And He wasn't going to be confined, Frazier. No, Staff Sergeant Frazier would not be confined. He decided to do a PLF, which is a parachute landing fall, from a third-story balcony. He thought he could make it, and he jumped, shattered one of his legs, his ankles. It's kind of a funny story because he made his way back to the pool to show himself to the people that were gathered there at the party, and they went back upstairs to go find him, and his buddies were still posting guard right outside. Had no idea he decided to go out the window, so we from then on he was known as Flying Frazier. But that typically is in an airborne unit. For some reason, paratroopers get intoxicated and they immediately start planning, what am I going to jump off of? Can I jump off of this and not hurt myself?
Hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. And that was Flying Frazier. I didn't see him for a long time, and then he showed back up for a month, and then he went away again. I have no idea what happened to him. But that's Flying Frazier.
Aaron, do you have a good story for us this morning?
I remember, I got there December 17th, so we were being trained in, we were the relief and switching out with the other Army unit, other battalion, and then so we were just going around. We did raids or building clearances for that first 2 weeks, so we cleared buildings, and I think it was the 23rd or 24th that I remember, where it was like a high priority target, and that was like our Christmas kind of celebration thing. Was we went and one of the insurgents we've been looking for, or they were looking for, and then we caught him on like the night of the 24th. Yeah, it would have been the morning of the 24th, because we would do raids at like 0300, 04, and then Christmas. I remember we were getting ready for the first elections ever. January 1st was going to be the first elections ever in Iraq, if I remember right. And then, we prepped it. I remember walking into, we had like a little tent where you could read books or watch TV. And DJ Houch and I we went in there and we watched some kiddie Christmas cartoon or something like that. But that's what I was doing. Not really anything too awesome, but that's one of my Christmases.
Well, Nick, do you have a story for us yet?
Yeah, I got a good story. It involves a little bit of inner service ribbing, I guess would be a good word. So, as I talked about before, I used to do President Obama's details when he came over to Hawaii. So, about 6 months before the first one we did at Christmas time, the Marine Corps had this dog, and we'll call him Aaron. And they couldn't get him to certify on the explosives and stuff. He was having issues. So instead of sending the dog back to Lackland, we called Lackland, and we thought, well, we're Air Force. We can get this dog to work, right? So they said, yep, go get him. If you guys can get him to work, you can have him. So we went and picked him up from K-Bay, Kaneohe Bay, and brought him back over to our side of the island, worked on him. 2 months later, this guy was a rock star. I mean, search him by himself, do anything. So fast forward, it's Christmas time. Me and Aaron's handler are on Kaneohe Bay Marine Corps base. It's about 4:30 in the morning. President Obama's coming to play basketball. So we're searching this gym, and our agent comes up to us, our Secret Service agent comes up to us, and he pulls us off to the side, and he says, the colonel is not happy right now. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, is that the dog they couldn't get to certify? And we were like, yeah, that's him, but he's certified. And they're like, well, he doesn't want him on this base anymore. And I was like, excuse me? And they said, yeah, basically it made them look bad that we took this dog and certified it, who is now doing a presidential detail on their base, but belonged to the Air Force. So it was pretty stupid, but they wouldn't let that dog come back on the base. because they didn't want to deal with the colonel's BS, so they just said, just don't come back on. Yeah, pretty stupid, but
I'm glad to see that dogs can get blacklisted like soldiers.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's good stuff.
I was a civilian working for the Army in Korea. And funniest thing we ever saw was they called us back to our duty station for some kind of an alert or whatever the hell it was. And the colonel showed up in pink pajamas. Nobody questioned him. But we all were laughing.
The real question was, why didn't you have pink pajamas?
Yeah. Wasn't sure about that. We were looking for the bunny tail. Anyway, it's kind of hard to be away from family and friends during the holidays, is it not, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you came back in your first Christmas, do you have any good stories on that one?
It was just nice to actually be there on Christmas. That was pretty cool. The Air Force runs a program. I think it's in maybe Utah, but they have a number you can call, the NORAD number. Have you ever done that? You can call for your...
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh, okay. So basically you can call NORAD. I don't know if it's in Utah or Alaska. It's one of those places. But you can call NORAD and you can actually talk to an Air Force person with your kids, and they will tell your kids where Santa is located at. And actually, every year, FLOTUS volunteers and does it for like 3 hours. She takes calls to the White House. So it's a pretty big deal. So that was pretty cool to get to participate in that instead of having to hear about it some other time.
Just a minute, Rudolph. Don't put your nose there. That's cold. Hey, who's there? Who's waiting there on the line for me? I want to find out who's been naughty and who's been nice. And I want some honest answers here, because we got bags and bags of goodies and bags of coal. How's everybody doing?
Well, we're doing pretty good, Santa. We're real happy that you joined us this morning.
Yeah, well, it was a long sleigh ride, but it's kind of dry in some spots. I had to kind of improvise with helium balloons. You know what that does to your voice when you go getting around those helium balloons, you know, they really make you kind of funny.
Really, Santa? Well, we got some veterans, and we've been talking about how you've been servicing the veterans overseas. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it was a long ride, and I'm telling you that it was a little scary sometimes, because I wasn't sure if we were going to take any flack from unfriendlies, if you know what I mean.
Well, Nick is here in the studio, and he would like to thank you for all you've done, Santa.
Thank you, Santa.
Well, listen.
And then I got a question for you.
Absolutely.
Is Ed on the naughty or the nice list?
The
Naughty.
question?
Is Ed on the naughty or the nice list?
Well, I've been spinning the spinner on that one, and it keeps on coming up right in the middle. So I'm going to keep on trying and see if I can get some kind of opinion from that spinner, but it just doesn't seem to be working. It's a bit undecided, if you know what I mean.
Well, what about Nick? Is he naughty or is he nice?
Well, he's been both. It's just a matter of how naughty, if you know what I mean, and how nice. And I don't want to affect his present reception yet with the elves. I got to put a call into them and make sure they understand what's the bigger side on that.
Just keep an open mind. That's all I ask.
Well, Josh is in the studio, and he's got a couple words for you, Santa.
Thanks for watching our back.
Yes. Did you say washing my back or watching my back?
Well, watching.
A little bit of column A, a little column B.
TMI.
Okay,
Watching.
well, just washing. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought you said. I'm not smelling things up there, am I?
Oh no.
You know, It gets kind of sweaty up there in the sled when we're trying to wrestle with all those reindeers, you know.
Can imagine.
They're pesky.
So Santa, have you got some good drunk stories for us? Have you been into
what kind of story?
drunk? Have you been into the eggnog lately?
Yeah, you can tell I've been sipping some of it. It's pretty strong. You know, you put a little rum in that, and I did have a little Irish whiskey that I put in at first, and that ran out. But so I had to go to that rum.
Well, don't worry, Santa. When you get to my house, we'll have some JMO for you set out.
All right, that's good. The black label, I'm hoping.
Only the best.
That'd be real good. Good.
Well, Santa, it was really nice that you were able to call in. Is there anything you want to tell the folks out there that are listening?
Well, absolutely. It always comes down to and thanks for the service. They deserve a lot more credit than they're getting and a lot more assistance than they're getting. So my wish for the new year is that starts increasing, both recognition and appreciation and assistance, huh? And have a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year to all of you. Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas.
Well, today at the Institute, we're feeding all the veterans and their families at no cost. It's our gift to the veterans community. And I know that we're going to have, well, I'm going to make a couple of banana cream pies. That's my favorite. So what's your favorite food there, Nick?
In the whole world or just Christmas food?
Christmas food.
Probably my mom's chocolate chess pie.
Ooh, are you going to bring one of?
No, because I can't make it.
What about you, Josh?
I just have to say eggnog. I mean, it's just one of those things you can only get around this time.
Well, do you put anything in the eggnog?
Oh, no, I'm straight up eggnog.
What about you, Jason?
Everything. I'm a big fan of food. So, yeah, everything. Yeah, but I won't mix it. That's one of my weird quirks. Just one at a time. But, you know, I think it depends. Usually we'll have turkey on Christmas, not ham like a lot of families. So if we have turkey, you got to have stuffing. If you're stuffing, you got to have mashed potatoes, got to have gravy. Then why not throw in some cranberry? Before you know it, we're just having Thanksgiving again. But it's pretty good. I got to say stuffing's probably my favorite.
Do you have to keep it separated or can it touch the food?
Well, cranberry can't touch anything, but everything else you can kind of mash up into a bowl.
Yeah.
Well, you make a special stovetop dressing. We tried that on Thanksgiving. You want to tell the folks?
Yeah, I love adding celery, some seasonings, onions, and then you got to include Italian sausage. Delicious. Love it.
So Kristen's in the studio. What's your favorite food for Christmas?
Tom and Jerry batter. I remember as a kid, we would always get to have it with water, and then as we got older, it had a little spice to it. That doesn't count as food, though, but that's my favorite.
What is Tom and Jerry batter?
My
It's a
grandmother
drink.
used to make it, and it's like
You
a
can get it.
blend of sugar and just goodness.
Well, we're going to have a special guest today at our Christmas feast. Troy Downing, who runs the fly fishing Quiet Waters, is going to be there to talk to the veterans about the program and how special it's been to him. Oh, and Santa, when he stopped by, did leave us a bunch of presents for boys and girls. So if you've got a family, bring them in because you'll find that there's something special under our tree for them. You know, River's really been blessed this year. Talk about it on the air quite a bit, thanking all of our listeners for the prayers and the help that we get for the work that we do. And, you know, it's been an exciting year. We've seen a lot of veterans getting help that they didn't get before. It's real special. One of my stories that I will tell without naming names is we've had a lot of veterans that are coming in that are just in a lot of agony. And all the tools and all the stuff that's given to us to help you guys, they walk out without so much agony, and they're not on all these drugs. That's kind of one of my thank yous for the year. And I really do appreciate the prayers. So, Jason, do you have a story that you'd like to tell?
Yeah, kind of on that same note. There was a gal, she came in and tremendous amount of pain all over, a host of issues. Obviously won't name names or even talk about some of the issues she had to live with. In so much pain. You could tell when she walked in, she was giving up and just didn't expect us to be able to do anything for her. And I was hoping, you know, God willing, we will be able to. So we ran her through a couple protocols that we have at the Institute and put her in the massage chair, had our acupuncturist do a little bit of acupuncture on her, ran her through some of the electrotherapy devices, and she stood up after all of it and started wiggling her toes. And she looked down, and you see this big smile comes across her face. I say, well, you know, how you doing? You know, how your feet feel? I didn't know exactly, you know, any issues she had with her feet before that. And she looks at me, and she looks at her boyfriend and says, I haven't been able to wiggle my feet in weeks. And she starts smiling, laughing, and the laugh, you know, turned into a cry because she was so joyful, and she was just so happy. And she got up, gave me a hug, and it was tremendous. I mean, to see somebody like that get so happy from just the relief of pain was powerful. And I'm not going to sit there and say that everyone's going to have the same experience, but to see something like that just shows that, you know, we're doing something right, you know. And it was great to have her in, and she comes in regularly, and we're happy to have her. Hopefully she continues to come in. Hopefully other veterans out there, if you hear this, you are in pain, you know, we'll try our best. And if there's something that we can't handle, we'll find somebody who can. And we're just here to help the veterans out. So, yeah, that story always gets me. It was, it was amazing to see.
Well, you know, Jason, on that line, the thing that always makes me feel good is there's never a charge to the vets. And they look at you like, you've done all this and you're doing it for free? What's up here? What's the catch? Well, they served this country with honor and dignity, and that's the least we can do. Josh, have you got anything you want to talk about?
Just more of just blessings that I've gotten. I just joined the River probably about 6 months ago, and you know, I get to see some of these guys before, or so you see them, maybe they come in just a little bit before you or a little bit after you, and you know, some of them in bad shape, and I don't want to, you know, push the veteran sob story in any way, but you see guys in bad shape, and then guys and gals, and to all of a sudden start seeing the transformations in front of you is really amazing. Like, you see these guys, and then they start getting around each other, and what's the first thing they start doing once they really start feeling that brotherhood again? They start talking about helping others. Like why are we just sitting here? Like what? Like we have time and we have resources. Let's do something. And it's just amazing to see. You know, it's not that take. And it's that wanting to give back. That just all of a sudden just spontaneously comes about, and you don't have to lead it, you don't have to push it. It's just something that really just comes out of these guys, and it's something that, you know, you just, maybe for a little bit of time just went dormant in them, because they got out, they kind of lost their way, they lost some things that were important to them. They're in transition, then all of a sudden it comes back, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Like I'm serving again. I'm back in this thing. I'm back in a fight. I got something to do. I got a direction to move in. And you start seeing these guys, and then you start seeing these guys who are like, you know, when you first met them, and you're like, hey, can you show up to this, you know, weekend event? And they're like, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Like, why would I do that? Like, I got other things to do. Now these other guys are like, well, no, oh yeah, I'll show up and I'll bring so and so, and then we'll talk about his friend, try to get his friend in, and like they're trying to bring each other in. They're talking about trying to do service projects for other vets, other veteran groups. Like, just the transformations are amazing, and I'm sure it happens in other groups that are not veteran centric, but it's just so cool to see that that's still in them, and the fight's still in them, and they still want to serve others. And that's what I'm thankful for, is that I almost lost hope in the veteran community. You get out and so much is told that, veterans are needy, veterans are needy, veterans are needy. And you start to believe it, and then all of a sudden you get reintroduced to them and you're like, no, this isn't a needy group of people. This is a very powerful group of people. And good things are coming. So that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about just seeing these people come back alive. And that's what I'm blessed to see.
Well, it's been a fun Christmas show this morning. And again, I really appreciate all the prayers. We don't take donations, haven't. And that's where Josh talking about, the issue of needy veterans. We're not a needy bunch. We need the services we need. And it's really appreciated. Thank you for listening.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So thank you very much for listening to Veterans Heartbeat. We'd not be able to bring it to you without all the support of the listeners. And thank you again to Farside Signs for sponsoring the show. If you do need a unique vehicle design, swing on by and check them out. Also, thank you to our main sponsor, River. River has an array of services such as veterans-focused education, a vestibular disorder clinic, and now non-pharmaceutical treatments for pain, anxiety, and depression. Check them out on Facebook or on the web at riverofchange.org. Lastly, we'd like to show our appreciation to all of our veterans. Thank you for serving our country and keeping it safe.